Good morning, dear students. I am Miss NAVEDA SHAIKH from Brahan Mumbai Mahanagar Palika MCGM virtual class. I welcome all my dear students to another and interesting session. In today's session, we'll be learning something new and interesting from a science textbook. So let's get started.
So, our topic for today is composition of matter part 2. As we know, we have already learned the first part of the chapter. If you haven't seen the video yet, please go and watch the first part of the chapter. That will help you to understand the next part of this chapter that we are going to learn today in a much better way. Okay, so let's get started. So, in our previous class, we have learned about mixtures, elements, compounds. Now, remember that scientists like to classify things. One way that scientists classify matter is it by its component or by its composition. वो किस चीज से बने हैं, कितनी चीजों से बने हैं. Ultimately, all matter can be classified as mixtures, elements, and compounds. The first thing that we learned last week was about elements. All elements are made up of atoms. Atoms of the same element are alike. Means oxygen के अगर दो atoms हैं तो दोनों same होंगे. Atoms of different elements are different. Like oxygen और hydrogen. ये दोनों के जो atoms हैं वो different होंगे because ये different elements हैं. ठीक है, इनके properties अलग है. So this was a basic concept that we learned last week. Elements are the simplest pure substance. An element cannot be changed into a simpler substance by heating or any chemical process. The smallest particle of an element that has the property of that element is called an atom. Means हम लोगों ने पढ़े थे कि एक atom है जिसको हम लोग further प्रोटॉन्स, इलेक्ट्रॉन्स और न्यूट्रॉन्स में ब्रेक डाउन कर सकते हैं. बट अगर एक ऑक्सीजन का एटम है तो वो वैसा ही रहेगा और उसको हम लोग चेंज नहीं कर सकते किसी भी तरीके से. अगर उसमें कोई एड ऑन करेंगे तो एक अलग बात है, बट हियर वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट ओनली वन सिंगल प्योर एलिमेंट. ठीक है. An atom is the basic building block of matter that we learned. There are more than 100 known elements in the universe listed on the periodic table of elements. Now this you will be learning in the next year. Okay, periodic table you will be having in your 9th and 10th standard. So that is a chart which helps us to understand the different types of elements that are there, their properties, their atomic number, their atomic mass number, everything is there. So element basically you all need to know. Simple thing, it is a pure substance. उसके अंदर कोई चीज मिलावट नहीं होती है और उसके जो elements होते हैं एक टाइप का element के अंदर जो atoms होंगे वो same होगा. और अगर हमारे पास दो डिफरेंट एलिमेंट्स हैं तो दोनों डिफरेंट एलिमेंट्स के जो स्ट्रक्चर होता है वो डिफरेंट होगा. ठीक है. सो दीज एलिमेंट्स कंबाइन इन सच अ वे टू क्रिएट मिलियंस ऑफ कंपाउंड. ये जो एलिमेंट्स है दो तीन एलिमेंट्स कंबाइन करते हैं और एक कंपाउंड फॉर्म करते हैं जो हेल्प करता है फर्दर चीजें बनाने में. ठीक है. सो विद दिस आई होप एलिमेंट्स का कॉन्सेप्ट क्लियर है. वी विल बी लर्न अबाउट बेसिक कॉमन एलिमेंट्स हियर लाइक एल्यूमिनियम. You have bromine, calcium, carbon, gold, helium, hydrogen, nitrogen. So these are a few elements and there are symbols given to you. Let's understand the types of elements and how are we going to classify them. Okay. So here we have different types of elements. Now how do we classify elements? First, let us just have a look at a few elements that are there. Gold, copper, aluminium, sulfur, coal. These are all examples of elements. There are many elements known to us, but we have taken a few. And let us further see the different types of elements as to how they have been classified. Now the types of elements that we have is, first we have is metals. Under metal, we have copper, silver, gold, aluminium and iron. And another type of element that we have is non-metals. And under non-metals, we have carbon, sulfur and oxygen. These are simple basic types of elements and These are classified as metals and non-metals. Now, properties of elements. Depending upon the properties of elements, they are classified as metals and non-metals. ठीक है, उनकी physical, उनकी chemical properties से हम लोग उसे पता कर सकते हैं कि either they are metals or they are non-metals. Some elements are ductiles, mean they can be hammered into thin sheet. हर एक एलिमेंट को हम लोग पतली शीट में कन्वर्ट नहीं कर सकते. सपोज इफ यू टेक अ कोयला लेते हैं, अगर हम लोग उसको हैमर करने लगेंगे एक पतली शीट बनाने के लिए, क्या हम लोग कर सकते हैं? नहीं, वो पाउडर हो जाएगा. यस और नो. सो ऑल एलिमेंट्स कैन आर नॉट डक्टाइल. सम एलिमेंट्स आर डक्टाइल, लाइक एल्यूमिनियम इज डक्टाइल. हमारे पास एल्यूमिनियम शीट, हम लोग एल्यूमिनियम फॉइल यूज करते हैं to wrap the food. Yes or no? So there are certain elements which show this property of ductility. Some are malleable. Malleability is another property of an element. Means they can be conformed into wire. उनको एक वायर का शेप दिया जा सकता है, जैसे कि कॉपर है. ठीक है, इसको इजीली वायर का शेप दिया जा सकता है. So we say that they are malleable. Some elements can conduct electricity. So we called they have electrical conductivity. Some elements can conduct heat. So they show thermal conductivity. जैसे कि कुछ चीज़ों को अगर like when you are making food, हम लोग क्या इस्तेमाल करते हैं? We make utensils made up of stainless steel or and suppose if you have a cooker, उसका जो हैंडल होता है it is made up of a special kind of a plastic which does not become hot. Yes or no? हम लोग जब खाना पकाते हैं तो कुकर का जो हैंडल होता है वो गर्म नहीं होता. क्यों? क्योंकि वो एक अलग मटेरियल से बना है जो हीट पास ऑन नहीं कर रहा है. Whereas if you see the main portion of the cooker जिसमें खाना पकता है वो बहुत गर्म होता है. Yes. So it shows that certain elements can pass on heat easily and conduct heat. So they show thermal conductivity. Whereas some do not possess that property. So they do not possess thermal conductivity. ठीक है? Then some metals are lustrous. Means they have shine in them. ठीक है, अगर जैसे कि गोल्ड है, सिल्वर है, ये शाइन करते हैं ना, इनमें शाइन है. सब एलिमेंट्स के अंदर शाइन नहीं होती. जैसे कि अगर इफ आई सी गिव यू अनदर एग्जांपल ऑफ सल्फर, उसके अंदर शाइन नहीं होती. whereas if I take example of gold, it is lustrous, it has shine in it. Elements, some elements can, if you bang them, you will hear sound in them. जैसे कि if I have this iron bell, हमारे घर में जो बेल लगी होती है उसमें से आवाज बजती है. ठीक है, why? Because that element has a property of sonorous in it. Some elements are dense, some are light in weight. ठीक है, some can easily sink into the water because they have high density. Some float into the water because they have low density. So these are all properties of elements. Based on these properties, the elements are classified as metals and non-metals. Now another important thing is elements are classified into metals and non-metals that we have learned. After invention of new elements, a new type of metalloid is also discovered, like boron, silicon, germanium, arsenic, antimony, tellurium. These are all elements that show some properties of metals and some properties of non-metals and are called metalloids. This is the third group of element. Okay, so I hope this is another type of element that you need to know. Apart from metals and non-metals, metalloid is another important thing that you should know, which comes under types of elements. So types of elements में तीन types हम लोग ने पढ़े हैं, metals, non-metals और metalloids. We will be learning about them in detail in our next coming chapter, that is metals and non-metals. The next thing that we have today is compounds. सो एलिमेंट्स हम लोग को समझ में आ गया है, टाइप्स ऑफ एलिमेंट समझ में आ गए हैं। अब हम लोगों ने पढ़े थे कि जब दो टाइप ऑफ एलिमेंट्स या दो से तीन टाइप्स ऑफ एलिमेंट्स को हम लोग कंबाइन करते हैं तो एक कंपाउंड फॉर्म होता है। फॉर एग्जांपल वाटर। वाटर इज सिंपल एग्जांपल है टू अंडरस्टैंड अ कंपाउंड. So compound are also pure substances, but compounds are made from more than one element. Water is a compound and water can be broken down into simpler substances like hydrogen and oxygen. Okay, so this is the basic knowledge you need to know about compounds, and now we will be learning the types of compounds. Now let's have a look at types of compound. Now here, if I take a crucible and if I heat a few crystals of iodine, now the crystal of iodine is solid in state. But if I'm heating it, you will see that within few seconds, it is turning into vapor directly. ठीक है, वो सीधा वेपर बन रहा है, आप लोगों को भाप बनते हुए दिखाई दे रहा है वो क्रिस्टल, वो लिक्विड फॉर्म नहीं कर रहा है और अब यहाँ पर कुछ भी नहीं बचा. Is there anything left in the crucible? No. So this shows that there are certain types of elements, if you keep on burning them, some extinguish and do not have any residue left behind, whereas some show some amount of black residue in them. Now, when we learn about types of elements, if I burn certain element, you will find that there is a black color residue left behind. If there is a black color residue which is left behind on heating, sometimes there is a black residue, sometimes there is not. Okay. So on heating strongly, some compounds give residue while others do not give any residue or give a blackish residue. So here in this pictures, you can easily make out that over here there is a blackish residue left, whereas over here there is no black residue but there is residue. ठीक है, कुछ बचा हुआ दिखाई दे रहा है. पिछली जो स्लाइड में हम लोग ने देखे थे when we were burning iodine crystal, तो वहां पर कुछ भी नहीं बचा था. ठीक है, वो पूरी तरीके से evaporate हो गया था. But here you can see that the compounds are having some amount of residue left. So based on that, we will classify and we will learn about the types of compounds. Now, the black residue is mainly made of carbon. Moreover, when such compounds are strongly heated in air, it combines with oxygen to form some gaseous substances. In case their combustion is not complete, means अगर वो पूरी तरीके से नहीं जल रहे हैं, black colored carbon remains behind as residue. These compounds are called organic compounds or carbon compounds. So here in this picture, you can see that if you are heating, for example, if you take any food item from your house, if I am making rice और अगर हमारा चावल जल जाता है, तो you must have seen कि जब जलता है तो नीचे काला लेयर आता है. वो जो काला लेयर है वो बता रहा है कि इसके अंदर कार्बन प्रेजेंट है. कोई भी चीज अगर जलती है और उधर ब्लैक रेसिड्यू मिलता है, that means it shows it has carbon in it. For example, materials like carbohydrates, proteins, hydrocarbons like petrol, cooking gas are made up of organic compounds. Okay, तो ये जो black color residue बच रहा है वो बता रहा है कि जो compounds है they are called as organic compounds or carbon compounds. ठीक है. You must have also noticed when we burn camphor balls, जब हम लोग काफूर की गोली जब जलाते हैं तो it does not have anything left behind, it evaporates. And there are certain substances, if you just see how this LPG gas, when you're cooking, sometimes a burner gives out black color residue. Now that black color residue shows that there is carbon present in it. So such type of substances which on burning gives you black color residue are called as organic compounds or carbon compounds. Now here in this picture you can see that if I am burning this residue, is there anything left? On the other hand, the compounds that decompose on strong heating to leave a residue behind are inorganic compounds. Now, if I'm heating this and it decomposes completely, okay, and it has a residue behind, but it is not black in color, so such type of compounds are called as inorganic compounds. Example is common salt, namak हमारा जो है, soda, rust, blue vitriol, limestone मतलब चूना are inorganic compounds. The third type of compound that we have is complex compound. As the name suggests, complex means there will be something which is more than simpler to understand. ठीक है, तो कुछ चीज अगर हम लोगों को वहां पर जब बहुत सारे मॉलिक्यूल्स इन्वॉल्व हो जाते हैं कंपाउंड के अंदर, तो हम लोग उससे कॉम्प्लेक्स कहते हैं. ठीक है, so the molecules of compound have a complex structure formed by many atoms, and in the center of this structure you have metals. Atoms are also included. Here you can see this is chlorophyll that contains magnesium. I'll just mark and I'll show it to you. See, in the center you have magnesium, whereas if you see here the second image, it is of hemoglobin, that is your blood, which contains iron. ठीक है, बीच में आयन है, बाकी बहुत सारी चीजें इसमें इन्वॉल्व है, तो इट इज फॉर्मिंग अ कॉम्प्लेक्स स्ट्रक्चर. नेक्स्ट इज साइनोक्लोबेलियमिन, that is vitamin B12. Now why this name? Because there is cobalt in between, in the center. ठीक है, this you see, this is the symbol for cobalt. These are few examples of complex compounds that we need to know, and these examples help us to understand another type of compound, that is the complex compound. Okay, you can see their structures and understand why they are called complex. So in all, we have learned three types of compounds here, that is organic, inorganic and complex compounds. The next thing that we have is mixtures. Previously we learnt about mixtures, that when you mix three compounds together, they form a mixture. Simple example था चूड़ा. जो हम लोग चूड़ा खाते हैं उसके अंदर बहुत सारी चीजें मिक्स होती है, फिर भेल, बहुत सारी चीजें उसमें मिक्स करते हैं, तो वो एक मिक्सचर है. Same way, if I'm dissolving, if you're making tea, that is also a mixture of 2 to 3 things like water, milk, tea leaves, and you have sugar. So many things are coming together and they're forming a mixture. Okay, so mixture का concept समझ में आ गया. Now let us understand what are the types of mixtures. There are two types of mixtures that we need to understand. One is heterogeneous mixture, means sand or soil, when you dissolve in it water, क्या वो पूरी तरीके से डिसॉल्व होता है? नहीं, सैंड सेटल हो जाती है नीचे और पानी रह जाता है ऊपर. One more example is water. If I dissolve water and oil in it, क्या oil dissolve होगा? नहीं, oil एक ऊपर अलग से layer form हो जाएगा. So here, even if I'm mixing two different things together, you can easily find the components separately. ठीक है, दो डिफरेंट लेयर्स दिखाई दे रहे हैं हम लोगों को, तीन डिफरेंट लेयर्स. इन द सेकंड इमेज यू कैन सी नीचे सैंड है, वाटर है, ऑयल है. सो दिस टाइप ऑफ मिक्सचर इज कॉल्ड एज हेटेरोजेनस मिक्सचर. द डिफरेंट कंपोनेंट्स कैन बी डिस्टिंग्विश, मतलब हम लोग को दिखाई देते हैं ये मिक्सचर्स के कंपोनेंट्स. whereas if you learn about homogeneous mixtures, the different components cannot be distinguished, like tea, air, water. These are sea water, okay, not water, sea water or ocean water. Now, why do I say these examples? From this example, it is clearly seen that जब हम लोग चाय बनाते हैं तो उसके अंदर बहुत सारी चीजें हम लोग कंपोनेंट्स यूज कर रहे हैं, बट हम लोग को अलग अलग कोई चीज दिखाई दे रही है? नहीं, सब एक ही दिखाई दे रहे हैं, है ना. तो इससे हम लोग कहते हैं होमोजेनस मिक्सचर. सेम वे इफ आई एम टॉकिंग अबाउट एयर, हमारे जो एटमॉस्फेयर में एयर है उसमें बहुत सारे कंपोनेंट्स हैं, लाइक यू हैव ऑक्सीजन, कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड, नाइट्रोजन, then you have inert gases, you have water vapor, you have dust, but can you see it? No, they are all combined together in such a way कि हम लोगों को दिखाई नहीं देती और वो मतलब कुछ अलग नहीं फील होती. ठीक है, सो होमोजेनस मिक्सचर्स के एग्जांपल समझ में आ गए. हेटेरोजेनस मिक्सचर समझ में आ गया. हेटेरो मीन्स you can see the different components, and homogeneous mixture means the different components cannot be distinguished. So, the part of matter having uniform composition is called phase. Now remember this word phase. Why I am using this word? There are two types of mixtures as I told you. Heterogeneous means different components can be seen. Homogeneous means they are the same. You can see the different parts of the mixtures easily. Means different phases, salt and water. अगर वो combine हो जाएगा तो एक phase consider किया जाएगा. And you cannot see the different phase. You cannot see the different parts over your phases of the mixture is homogeneous mixture. हम लोगों को salt and water में दिखाई नहीं देगा वो phase. वो एक phase हो जाएगा. But sand के अंदर हम लोगों को दोनों sand and water के mixture में हम लोग को दो phase दिखाई दे रहे हैं, एक sand का एक water का. ठीक है. So when I talk about homogeneous mixture, you have salt and water being dissolved together. So when all the components of a mixture form one phase, it is called homogeneous mixture. Okay? Also, next is heterogeneous mixture. Now here you can see oil and water being placed. पहले पानी है नीचे, उसके ऊपर oil है और उसके ऊपर एक दिया जलाया गया है. ठीक है? So here you can see the components separately. I'll just mark it and I'll show it to you so that it becomes clearly visible to you what I'm trying to show. So here you can see this portion, the yellow portion that I'm marking right now. Okay, I'll take another color to make you see that part. So this region that you see, this is of oil. Okay, I'll take another color and I'll show you about water. Okay, so I'll take a green color and this portion that you see here. Okay, ये पानी है पूरा. ठीक है, दिखाई दे रहा है अभी आप लोगों को? I hope now it is clear. So here in this picture you can easily make out that when the components of the mixture are distributed into two or more phases, it is called heterogeneous mixture. Alright. So here these are two examples over here for you all to understand about what is heterogeneous mixture, oil and water, sand and water. You can see the two components separately, that is water and sand. Here also you can see oil and water. So there are components which you can see are distributed in two or more phases. जितनी भी चीजें डिसॉल्व है अगर वो डिफरेंट हम लोग को दिखाई दे रही है तो उतने phases हम लोग को दिखाई दे रहे हैं. And such type of mixture is called as heterogeneous mixture. So here the water in the ocean is a very simple example of one phase. Yes or no? So all the particles over here are coming together. Here the stones. Many stones here you can see pebbles kept together. So all the particles of a solid that stay together or are in the same container constitute a single phase. Example here the heap of stones that you see. Now a liquid substance along with all the soluble substances dissolve in it. Now here you can see the sea water. इसके अंदर पानी के साथ साथ इसके अंदर salt है, इसके अंदर minerals है, उसके अंदर बहुत सारी चीजें हैं, impurities है जो हमारे घरों से कचरा निकलता है वो भी उसके अंदर dissolved है. Yes or no? So there are so many different things which are dissolved in it together. This also here you can see. Can you see different phases here? No, एक single phase दिखाई दे रहा है. So seawater comes under this example. One more example that we have is the gas, the air. जब सबसे पहले मैंने example समझाई थी आपको यहाँ पर, all the gases which are present together in our atmosphere, they form a single phase. Alright, so example is air. So I hope the concept of phase is clear to all of you. This brings us to another important topic, that is solution. Now, as I told you, a homogeneous mixture can be further divided as solution and few more things, colloids and suspension as well. In today's class, we'll be learning about solution. Now, when I'm dissolving salt and water together, It is called as salt solution. Okay. Homogeneous mixture of two or more substance is called a solution. Remember this. So this salt that I'm putting is called as the solute. just कम अमाउंट में हम लोग डालते हैं. वाटर जिसके अंदर सॉल्ट डिसॉल्व हो रहा है उसे कहते हैं सॉल्वेंट. So components of a solution which is present in the largest proportion is called as solvent, that is water over here in this example, and the other component which are in less proportion than the solvent are called solutes. And together the solute and solvent is called as a solution. जब ये दोनों मिल जाता है ना, सॉल्ट और वाटर पूरी तरीके से मिक्स हो जाता है, तो वो जो सब्सटेंस बना, जो मिक्सचर बना, उसे हम लोग कहते हैं सॉल्यूशन. ओके, एवरीथिंग इज क्लियर हियर up till here? Now remember, water is a universal solvent. Many liquid solutions contain water as a solvent. बहुत सारी चीजों में वाटर को इस्तेमाल होता है डिसॉल्व करने के लिए दूसरे सब्सटेंसेस को. ठीक है, इसीलिए बोला जाता है वाटर इज अ यूनिवर्सल सॉल्वेंट. Ocean water is basically a water solution that contains many salt. Okay, I've explained you all in the example of one phase, जहाँ पर बहुत सारे salts और minerals पानी में ocean के जो water है उसमें dissolved है already, and that shows us that water is a universal solvent. Body fluids are also water solution, जिसके अंदर हेमोग्लोबिन है, WBCs है, RBCs है, वो हम लोगों के ब्लड को, उसके अंदर ये सारी चीजें प्रेजेंट है. हेमोग्लोबिन हमारे ब्लड को जो एक्चुअली इट इज वाटरी, इट गिव्स रेड कलर बिकॉज ऑफ द हेमोग्लोबिन प्रेजेंट इन इट. नाउ देयर आर डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ सॉल्यूशंस दैट यू नीड टू नो. सॉल्यूशन के हम लोग ने बारे में पढ़े थे कि it is a mixture of a solute and solvent. ठीक है, it is a homogeneous mixture, means वो completely dissolve हो जाएगा. Based on the solute and solvent, the solutions are given as types of solution. ठीक है, उसे types में divide कर दिया गया है. जैसे कि अगर गैस और गैस है, like oxygen and nitrogen, there is solute. नाइट्रोजन क्या है? सॉल्वेंट है. नाइट्रोजन ज्यादा अमाउंट में प्रेजेंट है और ऑक्सीजन कम अमाउंट में प्रेजेंट है. तो यहाँ पर दो गैसेस एक दूसरे के अंदर डिसॉल्व हो रही है एंड दे आर फॉर्मिंग अ होमोजेनस सॉल्यूशन. सो दैट इज कॉल्ड एज गैस इन गैस सॉल्यूशन. ठीक है. नेक्स्ट इज गैस एंड लिक्विड सॉल्यूशन, लाइक सोडा वाटर. हम लोग जो कार्बोनेटेड वाटर सोडाज जो पीते हैं, लाइक कोका कोला यू ड्रिंक, पेप्सी, थम्स अप, ड्यूज, नाउ व्हाटएवर यू ड्रिंक, दे आर नथिंग बट सॉल्यूशंस. वो पानी है, सादा पानी होता है, उसके अंदर फ्लेवर ऐड किया जाता है, कलर ऐड किया जाता है, दैट इज लिक्विड, प्लस उसके अंदर एक गैस ऐड की जाती है, दैट इज कार्बन डाइऑक्साइड गैस. नाउ वाटर इज in large amount, so it is a solvent. Gas is used as a solute in the liquid and which forms a solution of soda water. ठीक है, so this is another type of solution, that is gas in liquid. Alright, the next one is solid in liquid. Liquid के अंदर जैसे कि हमारा ocean water है, it is salty to taste, right? Solid के अंदर हम लोग लेंगे जो भी salts या minerals है, if I am dissolving it in liquid, so this gives me another type of solution, that is solid in liquid. The last one is gold jewelry. जो हमारी gold jewelry हम लोग पहनते हैं, now remember that it is not pure gold that you are wearing. It has certain impurities, it has certain amount of copper mixed in it to give it a proper shape. ठीक है, जो गोल्ड होता है ना, वो बहुत सॉफ्ट मेटल है, वो बहुत सॉफ्ट होता है, उसे अगर हम लोग हाथ से भी उसे बेंड कर सकते हैं, और अगर उसके अंदर कॉपर ऐड नहीं किया जाएगा तो वो और सॉफ्ट रहेगा, वो हम लोग उसे डेली यूज में वेयर नहीं कर सकते. ठीक है, सो नाउ दिस गोल्ड इज ऑल्सो सॉलिड एंड कॉपर इज ऑल्सो सॉलिड. Now when you mix it, when you melt it, they become a solution. ठीक है, so which are the two things we are using here? We are using solid as a solute and solvent as a solute. Okay, solvent together to give you a solution. So this is another type of solution, that is solid in solid. So metals dissolved in metals are called as alloys. So remember that as well. ठीक है. फॉर होमवर्क जस्ट गो एंड सी व्हाट इज ब्रास. किस चीज से बना है ब्रास? जस्ट हैव अ लुक एट इट. ओके. So what did we learn today? We learned types of elements, that is metals, non-metals and metalloids, right? Then we learned types of compounds. In that we had organic compound, we had inorganic compound. The next we learned was types of mixtures. We learned about homogeneous mixture and we learned about heterogeneous mixture. Then we learned what is solution and its types. Gas in gas, liquid in liquid, solid in solid, gas in liquid. Alright, so I hope this much is quite well understood to you. If you liked the session, please do not forget to subscribe to our channel so that you can share and view the videos that we had today for you. And please do not forget to hit the bell icon so that you remain updated with all the latest videos that we'll be making for our dear students. I hope this session was quite useful to you. In the next coming period, we'll learn something new and interesting. Till then, thank you.